Hello everyone. Today's video is about whether or not you really need 16 gigabytes of system memory in a budget gaming PC. As you can see here, we have 16 gigabytes of memory installed. In this video, I will be removing half of that RAM between tests in order to see what kind of performance we lose. So I will be testing it in two different benchmarks as well as two different games. We're going to start with 16 gigabytes, then we're going to see what happens when we drop down to 8. Alright, there's the first benchmark done. We got 1,890 points with an average FPS of 18.90. In Time Spy, we got 7,293 with a CPU score of 4,647. Alright, now we've taken out half of the system memory. As you can see, the system is only using 8 gigabytes of RAM, so let's see what it looks like in the benchmarks. Alright, in Steel Nomad, we got a score of 1,884 with an average FPS of 18.85. And in Time Spy, we got 7,294 with a CPU score of 4,673. I'm going to call that margin of error because it does seem like it's a little bit higher than last time. Anyways, now I'm going to put back in the memory so we can test some games. Alright, the memory's back in. As you can see, there's 16 gigabytes. And here we are. We are testing Minecraft first. We're getting a fairly consistent 60 FPS. We're using between 7 and 7.5 gigabytes of system memory in order to do this. And of course, it's very playable. I don't know what you would have expected otherwise. But yeah, feels butter smooth. There's only slight dips sometimes, and even then it's very minimal. Alright, now we're going to be testing Fallout 76. So the first part of this test is seeing how long it takes to load into the game. Fallout 76 is a bit more demanding, of course, so I'm expecting this to use up a significant more amount of RAM. Alright, looks like we're loaded in. Alright, so we are getting between 60 FPS and the high 50s. We're using just shy of 10 gigabytes of RAM. Fairly stable frame rate. Yeah, alright, so I think that's just about locked in. So I'm going to put back in some, or take out some memory, sorry, and we'll... Alright, there we go. We have 8 gigabytes of system memory installed now. Alright, so let's see how long it takes to load into Minecraft. That seemed to take just about as long as last time. And we're getting a fairly consistent 60 FPS again. Doesn't seem like it made much of a difference. We are using about a gig less of RAM though, so that's interesting to see. Take care of that zombie right quick. But I'll run around a little bit and... Alright, so 76. Let's see how long it takes to load. This seems like it might be taking a bit longer than it did before. There we go. Alright, we're using about 7.5 gigabytes of our RAM. And immediately I noticed that there is a much less consistent frame rate. We're getting between 60 and the low 40s. Watch me struggle to jump up there for a second. But overall, I'd still call it playable. And then just for fun, we're going to test Minecraft with 4 gigabytes of RAM. See what kind of a difference that makes. Seems like it took a little bit longer to load in that time. I'm going to let it kind of settle out a little bit before I start running around. Just to give my system its best chance. Well, alright. I think that'll about do it. So, when we do get a FPS drop, it's much larger than it was before. Before we were getting between 1 and 2 FPS dropping. Maybe it settled out. Well, like I said before, Minecraft isn't a very demanding game, but I'm still kind of impressed by that. Seems pretty rock solid at 60 FPS. Well, there you have it. Alright, so I did test Fallout 76 with 4 gigabytes of RAM. I recorded it, but the footage is just lost. I'm assuming it's because my system just didn't have the resources for everything. It wasn't very playable. I was getting between like 40 and 6 FPS. So, to answer the question of the video, do you need 16 gigabytes for a gaming PC if you're on a budget? I would say no, but it's a nice to have for sure. You should definitely have more than 4 though, unless you plan to only play Minecraft. But anyways, I hope you found this video informative. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.